Hey, what's up, guys? Just another quick uh, stream for you guys. You guys are welcome to ask questions on whatever you want, but I want to focus today on um, kind of what we're seeing with a lot of these huge streamers and celebrities and all that. And it's gotta suck knowing that you put in a lot of work, especially if you're trying to be positive or trying to be the type of person that kind of spreads a positive message about something. People like Shannon, or not Shannon Sharp, but people like Joey Swole, which is, I've always thought he was kind of cringe, the whole defending people in the gym, making a non-issue a big issue and all that stuff, gym positivity. It's not necessary, but I mean that's his shtick and that's what he is. So he rolled with it. He spent a couple years after I guess. Hold on, I'm trying to find the. Okay, here we go. Trying to find his last tweet. Uh, so essentially, he has built his brand on calling people out for shitty gym behavior. So if there's a video or a TikTok, be it real or not, he will comment in and say, this is shitty behavior, blah blah blah. People should be able to work out. People should be able to work out in peace, whatever. And it's essentially his stick was just catastrophizing near statistically irrelevant things about the gym, including, a girl recording herself and then accusing you of uh what do you call it? Of creeping on her or something, even though you were in the background. So essentially that's what his stick was. And cool. It got traction because if there's anything that men need or men want, is the victimhood, like the ability to say, I'm a victim of women. So essentially this gained traction because that's what men want. Men want someone to acknowledge how terrified they are of interacting with women, of talking their way out of a situation. And it's crazy because guys that are socially calibrated, guys with a little bit of game or charm or whatever you want to call it, if you were in that situation, you'd be able to talk yourself out of it. And this is the big divide, I'd say. I don't want to get too specific but what this stuff is about. But if I was in the gym and a girl came up to me and said something like, "Are you serious? Are you really staring at me?" There's so many things you can say to diffuse a situation, but guys, again, don't have the skills to diffuse a situation or anything. So instead, they rely on the Joey Swoles of the world to come defend them and be their savior against the mean, bitchy gym people that are trying to make them viral for being a shitty human being. Even though, like the average person, like 99.9% of people that see this, right, are just like, dude, you didn't do anything wrong. So, he latched onto that, tried to make his brand that somehow you know, it made him, he became more of like a meme figure than a someone to be taken seriously. So, you know, obviously this kind of person and this kind of influencer, they feed off their audience so much. They say they wanted to do good, but in reality they just wanted to be worshipped. They wanted to be worshipped more than they wanted to be good. Because if you really wanted to do good and all that stuff, um, you would focus on that. But a lot of the content was just, look how bad these people are. You should be able to enjoy the gym. Like, how does that help anyone, right? How does that help anyone? Just telling someone what they should or should deserve or should get or should happen. It doesn't. It doesn't translate to action, doesn't translate to the physical realm. It's just an abstraction, and we waste our time. And time again, this is all of half of self-improvement content is we're becoming feminized to the point where while women will talk about what they deserve and what they should get, men will start doing the same. When we all know that men don't wait around for someone else to do things for them, they figure it out themselves and then get help from who they need to get to that goal and then keep it moving. But, we love being victims. We love the world, waiting for the world to come save us. So he thought that was his mission, to be a protector, to be a dark knight, and it backfired. Why? Because one day he innocently, and I believe it's innocent, he decided to cosplay or dress up as uh, Hulk Hogan, who recently passed this week or last week or something, as a tribute. And he got a lot of backlash for that because Hulk Hogan, in his later years, he was kind of racist or kind of said a lot of things about, black people. And he didn't know that. And he pissed off a portion of his audience. And I don't know how big a portion of his audience, but he pissed off a big portion of his audience. So of course, a guy like him is so obsessed with pleasing his audience that essentially he apologized to that portion of his audience. Well, guess what? Hulk Hogan is pretty, one of the right wing guys that everyone gets behind. He spoke at the one of these Republican conventions too before Trump got elected. So a lot of guys look to him as, plus the racial remarks. Of course, a lot of the guys are going to get behind him. Um, so essentially, since he apologized to the portion of his audience that was anti-Hulk, the portion of his audience that was pro-Hulk got mad too. So he essentially pissed off both sides of his audience. And essentially he got so much backlash online for both that he said he couldn't handle anymore and he quit. So basically, in his quest for seeking approval, it screwed him over. And that's the title of today's show. Seeking approval will always screw you over. Nobody likes approval seeking behavior. We tolerate it, but approval seeking behavior will screw you in the end, especially if you're a celebrity, an influencer, and all that stuff. And in wrestling, we have this what's called a heel. And a heel is just a guy who's just accepted that he's going to be the villain. He is the villain. He is the heel. And that's what these guys should do. Let's pull up the tweet. Hold on, let me close out these windows. Share screen. All right, let's blow it up a little bit. So essentially, the tweet reads, let's see. All the good I've done, all the people I've helped, all for nothing. Truly hope all the people I've inspired to do great things in life pay it forward to help others, carry on the message. His message being what? What is his message? Don't be a dick on the gym. Wow, what a message. I've been going to the gyms for like 10 years since 2013. I've been going to the gym for 12 years, and a little bit in college, and I've never seen this. I've never seen any of this. As a matter of fact, no one cares. We're all busy. We got things going on. So whatever, cool. But no matter how much good you do, people just wait for a reason to hate you and tear you down. Either you die a hero or live long enough to be the villain. Thank you for your support. I am done. Right. And it's funny because y- now he's pissed off the last portion of his audience, which is now calling him basically a pussy or a coward because he bowed down to both sides. And that's the thing, guys. Like, he apologized to the people that were anti-Hulk, aka people that thought he was racist, right? And then that pissed off the side of his audience where it was the people that were pro Hulk, so they are mad at him and spitting vitriol. And now the side of his audience that didn't care about either of that stuff, that just wanted him to do content, they're mad now. If you can see you can look at the comments, right? Hey King, your entire brand's about never giving up. If you can bench press a truck, you can handle this easily. This is nothing. Tell the haters to go F themselves and keep being a badass. Uh There's Cernovich, you could have kept posting this and would have been over in 12 hours or less, given the attention spent on TikTokers. Who cares? Nobody does. This is self-indulgent therapy talk. See, like, he's losing. And then Beardson is Hulk mania is running wild on you, brother. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just. And then Richard Cooper, don't be a pussy. Yeah, don't let the door hit you on the way out. You fold it. See that? No, you fold at the first confrontation. Yeah, see that you trashed your idol. Uh, See what I'm saying? Like, there's that photo. And guys, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, he's so obsessed with making it with he's approval-seeking behavior, right? He coulda just said, "F off, I like Hulk Hogan. Maybe I may not agree with all his views, but he's a pretty cool dude," and then moved on. Yes, he put what lost 10% of his audience and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, man, like, look at him now. Like, pathetic. Like, everyone's gonna remember him how he had one confrontation with a minority of his audience, and he folded. And they're calling him out for it. All sides, everyone. And that's what I'm saying, guys. No one likes an approval-seeking dude, even if he agrees with you. Not women, not men, nobody. And this is a lesson, right? The lesson is you have to be evil. One of the first things I ever said, I was on a Purple Pill podcast, and they kept trying to trap me with like morality, the morality argument about what I do and dating, spinning plates, dating multiple women at the same time. And I just looked, and there was a kind of like black patriarch guy, and then a 30-year-old virgin battle rapper, and they were giving me shit about my lifestyle and all that. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let you guys know. And I just said it, like, I'm not a good man. Right? I'm not a good person. And I'll keep saying this from the beginning. I'm not a good person because it's not about living long enough to see yourself become the villain. It's that you start out as the villain. You are the villain. And guys really need to understand this. Groveling to women, being a male feminist, thinking that, hey, if I just am a good guy, I will get what the assholes get in life is going to screw you over. So it's going to screw you over twice. Approval seeking behavior, no one likes it in any aspect of anything. Yes, some low IQ boss or some very naive woman once in a while will give you the time of day. But even your bosses know that you're an approval seeking hack. The women know, everyone knows. And when you are confronted with having to be the villain or having to be mean and you fold, people respect you that much less. And essentially, that's what it is. I liken this to the movie. You guys remember American Gangster? Um, the movie American Gangster, essentially, the I don't know the names, but I know that the detective and the guy that um, the detective was trying to get, the character being played by Denzel Washington. They at the end of the movie, they respected each other, right? They had a mutual respect for each other. Both were on the other opposite sides of the law and opposite sides of morality, right? Denzel's character, um, Denzel's character basically would give out turkeys and help the community and all that stuff, even though he was selling and had a drug empire. Whereas the detective, I think he was cheating on his wife, and just different opposite sides of the law, but different sides of morality too. But at the end of the movie, they walked with each other and they had a mutual respect for each other because neither was approval seeking. They were who they were. They didn't like each other. Yeah, Russell Crowe was the DT. Yeah, and they just walked home, or they just walked approval seeking. And at the end of the movie, um, they bump into these like young black dudes that dress like thugs, right, like rappers. And then Denzel's Washington character looks at them like, "What the hell? What is this?" And then he keeps walking. And that's like the metaphor for this. Whereas guys that were congruent to who they are, like, the DT was, he was a sack of shit probably in his personal life, but he didn't take money like the other cops did. Um, and then Denzel's character was pretty good to his community, but he built it on drugs and crime. And then you have these guys that he bumps into at the end of the movie that are just, maybe they've stolen a TV or something or listen to rap music. And he looks at them like, okay. And that's what I'm saying. Those kids were approval seeking. They were trying to chase an image in order to be cool. Whereas, you have Denzel Washington's character and Russell Crowe's character kind of have a mutual respect, not based on anything, but hey, you are who you are. You are who you are, and you're not. And I think that's a great metaphor for what we see today with all this. And guys, like, you got to realize, like, you in your own life, you're gonna have to be a heel. You're gonna have to be evil, and you're gonna have to own it. You have to own it when people are like, when you get accused of things. Look at the difference between what Shannon Sharp is going through and Diddy is going through. Now, I know celebrities aren't always the best examples. The best examples are our own lives, which I'll give you an example of my own life. But you have to be like, look at this example. You have Shannon Sharp who messed around with the wrong girl. Maybe there was an NDA signed, something happened, but messed around with the one girl, didn't protect himself enough. I'm not like, I can't blame the guy either, right? When you have money, yeah, you feel powerful and invincible, but whatever. And he said, instead of fighting the case at the very end and trying to clear his name, um, he just gave her a payout. The OnlyFans chick. Chick wasn't anything special, like it just seemed like a type of girl I would see in my neighborhood walking my dog every day. I don't she It wasn't something like that Leo DiCaprio would date or something like that. Just a homely white girl that wasn't fat. So he pays her 23 million for a settlement, and then about a month, couple months later, ESPN drops him, like fires him, $100 million contract. Now, he's always gonna make money, his name and his personality, like he's basically like Charlie Sheen. He can get paid to play himself, and I think he'll be fine. But the fact that he's getting canceled is indicative to me more not of what he did, but how he bowed out. Right? Like maybe ESPN was going to cancel him anyway, but maybe he would have gotten more recognition, his name cleared, and at least even if he spent the money on the case, he would have got a clear conscience and a reputation, and at least maybe he would have been able to keep the ESPN deal. Who knows, man? I don't know. But he lost basically in total 123 million, um, just over sleeping with the wrong chick. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, what if he was like, I don't know what would have happened, but what if he would just own it and would have been like, no, we're fighting this to the end. I'm gonna make this girl's life a living hell and bankrupt her. What if you just said, my life's mission is to make sure you never get a penny out of me or something? Who knows? Maybe it was a smart decision. Maybe it's something he did actually do something, but something to think about. Another thing is I'm trying to think of another one. Okay, so we have Luke Sung. Let me see. Luke Sung, he was this is pretty recent too. So essentially Luke Sung, he's a part owner of a restaurant in let me pull up the article here. He's a part owner of a restaurant in San Francisco. He was. And essentially, hold on. Let me exit out of here. And, okay. So he, there's this influencer, influencers, the most moral bunch, right? The most moral, respectful kind of. They're never the center of controversy for being dicks or trying to get people canceled, right? So essentially, uh, there's this woman that had 15,000 followers on Instagram, and she said she got invited to a restaurant to have to rate their meal and put them on their her put her sorry put the restaurant on her timeline on Instagram, and she was under the impression that she was going to get a free meal. Now I don't know about you guys, but I'd never expect free anything. My whole life I've had to work or pay for everything. If I get something for free, I'm incredibly shocked. I'm kind of shocked, but also I'm like thankful. I'm very thankful. And I have gotten a free meal at a restaurant because they thought I was an influencer. It was in Miami. It was funny. It was in 2022. But essentially, yeah, it, So the girl is there, and she overhears this guy on the left, the chef, saying that uh, she's not big enough to warrant a free meal, and who does she think she is? Blah blah blah. And this is within earshot, and she hears it. So, um, I mean, you guys can look up the story. I don't think it's very complicated. So essentially, the girl complains, makes a TikTok video crying or something because she wanted a free meal for her and her husband or whatever. And this garners the sympathy of lots of people on TikTok, including the Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy. And her follower count boosts up to 250K. And the chef rolls over. He just says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I brought dishonor upon my family. I'm gonna," and he quit. He quit because he decided not to give a woman a free meal. Um, and they cut ties with the chef. And this guy was an award-winning chef. He has a couple awards on his belt. Um, and then yeah, so uh, let me see what it says here. And now the place is gonna close because of this. Cut all ties and the place is gonna close. Rolled over. And I'm telling you guys, like, isn't this insane? A chef denies a woman a free meal, and it causes him to lose his job and the restaurant closing for good. And not only that, it takes her from 15,000 followers to 388,000 followers. I'm not trying to get too black pilled or anything like that, but this is one of those moments, guys, where apologizing. How does a they're firing you or they're firing you after all the hard work you've done. They're getting rid of you. They've closing down the restaurant. They not only that, you probably have hate mail now, death threats from this woman's like simpy dudes or white knights. Like, how do you roll over here? What am I missing for this? What am I missing? So it says here, Carla posted a follow video on Friday stating that she hadn't expected the situation to escalate and thanking those who supported her. That afternoon, Kiss Cafe posted a statement on their Instagram confirming that the other owners had cut ties with Song and had reached out to Carla with an apology. The post also asked public to refrain from racist or hateful messages. On Saturday, Issa posted a response video reiterating her support for Carla. She said she had disagreed with her father using her name to diminish another creator, now that she was working with him privately to address his behavior. Not only that, his own daughter, who he raised and who he, you know what I'm saying, probably paid for stuff. Like this is, bro, this is your average guy. This is your average guy. When the thing is, you guys being here are already like 1,000% more um, ahead of the curve than the average guy. So give yourself some flowers because this is the average guy. The average guy lets his own daughter lecture him on how to live his life. It's no wonder men like this lose it all. It's almost like they don't deserve it. In life, guys, from time to time, you're going to have to be the heel. You're going to have to be the bad guy. You have to own up to it. He's so scared of being seen as a bad person that he groveled not only to the harpies on TikTok, but to his own daughters. He could have told his own daughters, "Well, like, I'm your father. If you don't like it, then you can leave my house." Or, "Hey, don't come to Christmas this year." Like, you got to be a bad guy. Frame. You got to hold frame. And this is what happens when you don't hold frame. You fucking get stomped. You know. Women will never they're not gonna stop. They don't stop, guys. See if women were compassionate, Carla would have said, please don't fire this guy. Please be responsible uh, with his family. Um, Send a statement, be like, "Hey guys, he's a great chef. It's just we had a disagreement. I don't want to get this guy fired." But no, instead she's like, "Teehee, thanks for ruining his life, and thanks for all the followers." And I'm like, it's no wonder people don't respect influencers. It's no wonder that people don't consider them a real job, consider them the dregs of society. It's because of behaviors like this. But guys, the real lesson here is you cannot roll. Like, stop approval seeking behavior. Stop it. It will ruin. Yeah, like Juan Correa saying, zero frame, zero influence over the woman in your life. And the thing is, like, if I don't have authority of I don't know how old his daughter is, but if I'm the one seeking approval from my own daughters, of course this dude was never meant to be successful, because part of being successful is that you have to be an asshole sometimes. You have to own up to it. And this brings me to the last point, and it's Diddy. What was Diddy doing in the courtroom? He was doing heart shapes to Cassie, and everyone was on Cassie's side. And Diddy help? He was like, "Yeah, I'm." And then when they asked him, "Did you do this evil thing?" He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Held frame, played dumb, whatever he had to do. Mess with Cassie, stared into her eyes, and all while this is happening, all the shitty shit about Cassie started coming out. How she had death threats towards guys. How she was complicit in a lot of stuff he did. How she still pined for Diddy. How she was doing stuff while married or seeing the current father of her kids. He doesn't care about female approval. He doesn't give a shit. And guess what? He's about to walk. Even the president is thinking of pardoning him. I'm not saying this will work in every situation, but I'm just saying, like, out of all these men, famous men, and Jake Song maybe isn't um as famous, but he's famous now. Out of all of these, Diddy was the one that should just held hold frame, and like, I'm a sack of shit. I'm an evil guy. And he kind of owned up to his whole life. He dressed like the Joker. What more do you need? And in our own lives, guys, we don't want this to be the situation, but from time to time, no matter how much good you do, um, you will always be seen uh, you will always have to deal with a situation where you're not the hero, where you're the villain, where you're the bad person. And it sounds cool and like poetic on paper, but when you're actually going through these, it sucks, dude. It sucks. I went when I was in the Navy, I had a situation where I had several bad things happen to me very short time. um, Several mistakes. The first mistake was when I was overseeing or training this guy on how to do maintenance on one of the reactor plant systems. I asked him, "Do you know what you're doing?" And he said, "Yes, I did this last week." So we did it. He pressed the enter. He pressed the enter key on the laptop when he wasn't supposed to, and he caused a fake alarm to come up. My buddy who was operating the plant shut down the plant a little bit, and essentially, uh, we had a meeting afterwards, and it was concluded that I was the one, because I was training the guy. I was my responsibility. So I got removed from watch. I got removed from my duties for a while, and it sucked. And then 2 weeks prior to that, there was a big catastrophe on the ship in which I was battling um, casualties all night, trying to get the plant back online, everything back to normal for like 6 hours. I was exhausted, but I kept the ship online, and because I didn't follow one procedure that would have caused the whole ship to go offline. Um, so I decided not to do that. Since I violated procedure, that day when they relieved me of my duties, they also had to talk to me about that. So even when I did good and made a decision, a smart, logical decision, but that violated the procedure, I also got chastised and I got, shitted on and all that. So for 10 weeks, I wasn't able to do anything, and my coworkers hated me because they were doing more work, and it took me so long to get my ability to operate back. And then one day it's almost like as a joke, they forced me to do the same maintenance again, but this time it was me with no under instruct. And while I was briefing, right, the maintenance, I had read the wrong paragraph. Started reading the wrong paragraph. And then I'm like, "Oh, sorry, no, this is the wrong paragraph. Here's the right paragraph." And my boss looks at me and he pulls me to the office and he says, "We're removing you from watch again." And yeah, so I spent a total of 10 weeks unable to operate or do maintenance or anything. While everyone was shitting on me, rumors started about what I did, and it was like worse than it actually was. People were coming up to me that I hadn't spoken to like in a year on the ship, saying like, "I heard you're getting fucked over," and I, at first I was just nice, but I'm like, "Hey guys, it happens." But then over time, it just didn't let up. People kept coming up to me saying, "You're the guy who did this." I'm like, "No, that's not what actually happened." So I just started becoming an asshole to people, right? There was a day where I was playing video games, and somebody came in and just like, "You're always playing video games. You're never gonna requalify." I told them I can't qualify right now. Um, it's gonna take time. Like it's not. I don't even have a requalification plan yet in my hand. And all that. So instead, uh, after a while, I just told them, "Hey," I put the controller on the table and I said, "Come take it. Come take the controller from me." That's what I would say. I would put the controller on the table and said, "Come take the PlayStation controller from me. Let's go. Come on." And then whenever I saw guys standing more watch or having to do more work for me, I would simply say, "Yeah, I mean, you guys are really working hard. I'm gonna go to my rack and fuck off," or something. Because and I didn't do it unprovoked. I did it to people who really were making me go through it. Like I just owned it. I just owned to being a piece of shit. And guess what? I just became a villain. This works for men, guys. Like Donald Trump, it worked for him. He was a heel. Basically, when he was on that stage with Hillary Clinton and what's his name, Jeb Bush, and all those people, those guys were like they were the Joey Swolls of the world. They wanted to appeal to their audience, and Trump he became the villain. He's like, I need to be a villain if I want to win because no one takes me serious. Everyone is all still saying that I am never going to win this presidency and I'm a joke. And even to this day, if you see his post, it's AI making fun of his enemies and all that stuff. He's a heel. He's like Loki. You have to be like Loki. You have to be the heel because that's what people want. People don't people don't want um people don't want the goody two shoes approval seeking guy. They want the asshole and all that. And if you guys think for a second that you're going to get rewarded for your good boy behaviors, and how does this translate to dating? Well, in the dating world, right? Women can tell when you're approval seeking. That's why you have to tell them off. And it's really the easiest way to pass a shit test. You can memorize every shit test in existence, or you can just think, I'm a sack of shit. I ain't worthy of like not that you're not worthy, but I'm a bad person. I cheat and I lie and I'm a man. And you lean into that and it makes you kind of it kind of what's it called? The women feels like you're no longer qualifying to her, that you're just there just to be there, you're not qualifying to her anymore, and that's what a lot of men do. They feel like they're qualifying. They give the feeling to the women that they're qualifying to her because they wanna say the right thing, they don't wanna piss her off, but if a girl says something like, "Do you bring all your girls here?" and you say something, "No, this is a new spot," or, "No, no, I don't," she's gonna be like, this one of those guys that wanna like or he's gonna lie to me to get in my pants or he's gonna pretend to be good. Meanwhile, like if you're the type of guy that says, she says, "Oh, do you bring all your girls here?" You say, "You mean today or yesterday? How many? I've only brought 4 today, or I've only brought 3 today." Right? It kind of lets her know that you're not an approval seeking guy. And you need to have this in your head. You were taught your whole life that you need to seek approval from women. And look at everyone that folds or bends the knee. It's all approval seeking behavior. And that's why they'll never be good with women. They'll never be good with their wives. They're always going to be trying to seek approval from women. And they'll never be good with women because women, even though they say that, they don't want it. That's why Sydney Sweeney, right, posted a thirst trap after the whole internet told her that she's not perfect. But she made a video with all the haters' comments and then showed herself looking, look how awesome I am. I'm actually training for a role. Um, but she never posted any of the kind words of the people that were defending her because the people that were defending her are approval seekers. So, uh, Axe Harmonium, are there shit tests that make you roll your eyes and stuff you've heard so often? It gives you the, yeah, like the most common one is, so how many girls are you seeing right now? Or how many the one I just said, do you bring all your girls here, stuff like that. But it's just like it's not even, it doesn't make me roll my eyes. It's just, again, it's standard, it's automatic. Remember, once you have a dating system in place and you have basically a streamlined system on how to get girls back to your place, all this stuff, it's like autopilot. Right? Have you ever driven somewhere and then you forgot how you got there? Just like, oh shit, I drove here. Like you didn't even remember the drive. It was so automatic. That's basically how it becomes. You just, it's step one, step two, step three. It's automatic. It's almost like Ultra Instinct and Dragon Ball. Like you just, it's automatic. So yeah. But all right, guys, that's all I have on this. Like I told you my personal story. Um, I told you I use different celebrities. I think Luke Sung's the saddest because he doesn't have the status of like a Shannon Sharp. But he just folded. He folded to his own daughters, right? Like it's you are the authority figure in their lives. Um, and I know it's hard, guys. You think that, hey, if I just follow the rules and that they're gonna stop and I'm gonna get everything I want back, but it's just gonna make people more and more mad. You know, you're gonna lose a portion of your audience. Maybe he would have lost a couple customers, but maybe he would have had a whole bunch of new ones. You know, the people that want to support him because they're tired of influencers um, being like this. Who knows? There's no benefit to approval seeking behavior. You're just gonna spend your whole life uh, trying to get in people's good graces, only for them to turn on you. And you're gonna scramble to try to do whatever it takes to get their approval again. What would you tell guys who keep reverting to people pleasing behavior? Uh, dude, like it's your inner blue pill, right? Like you can't read this stuff and then all of a sudden you got to rip this stuff out of your programming. It's deep. It has roots and tendrils all over your body and your brain, your psyche. You have to rip it out. You have to tell people no, and that's the problem. Start getting used to telling people no. Start getting used to like things that don't benefit you, walking away from. Um, you have to practice your you have to know your assertive bill of rights, and which I can bring them up right now. Assertive bill of rights. Let's see if so. Let me see. I'm bringing it up. This will help you, Arc Simone. I don't know if you're talking about yourself or a friend, but this should help. I'm bringing it up here. No, here we go. All right, assertive bill of rights, and this should help for people that are constantly seeking approval and don't know how to be assertive and lean into being, which really being a villain is just watching out for yourself and putting yourself first. So Assertive Bill of Rights. You have the right to judge your own behavior, thoughts, and emotions, and to take responsibility for the initiation and consequences upon yourself. So, um, if you feel like you dressing as the Hulk or Hulk Hogan, sorry, is not bad, then you have the right to judge yourself as not bad. You understand me? If you feel like not giving an influencer a free meal is not bad, then you have the right to be like, this is not bad, right? If you have the right to think, hey, I hooked up with the chick and we were doing freaky stuff. I'm not giving her a dime because of out of an accusation, because of an accusation. Then you have the right to believe that that's right. So you have the right to offer no reasons or excuses for justifying your behavior. So here's another one. You don't have to explain to anyone why you think it's wrong to give someone a free meal. Zero. Yeah, you don't have to sit down with the news. You don't have to sit down with your daughters. You could just say, "Hey, I just think it's wrong." But why? I just think it's wrong. But explain. I'm not going to explain. So, yeah. Got no link for the 4.99. Sir, you get one of these.
Thank you so much, best friend.
No link for the 4.99. What would you tell guys who keep reverting into people pleasers? Well, we're getting into that right now. No link. I don't know if you just tuned in, but Axe Harmonium asked the same question, and that's why we're going through the Assertive Bill of Rights. So when you guys are faced with the situation like this, you guys know how, like, the perspective to um to get into it and to navigate the situation. So you have the right to judge it if you're responsible for finding solutions to other people's problems. So, okay, this is one where, like, hey, you don't owe people solutions to problems, right? So if one of you guys say, "Hey, Nuke, help me with this," I can tell you I'm not responsible for that. Good luck, dude. And people were like, "What an announcement!" I'm like, "No, I don't owe you my help. I don't owe like and look at your own life. Somebody may be like, "Hey, can I borrow your car?" And you can say no. And they're like, "But dude, you always let me borrow your car." I'm like, "No, I don't. Sorry, figure it out, dude. I can't right now." And that's how it is. That's step one. It starts at the small stuff. You have the right to change your mind, right? So if you decide, hey, I'm going to apologize, but then you realize, what the hell am I going to apologize for? This is dumb. Then boom, you have the right to do that. You don't have to explain why. You're just like, hey, I changed my mind. But why? I changed my mind. But why did this? I changed my mind. Number 5, you have the right to make mistakes and be responsible for them, right? So it's another thing. If someone says, "How could you do this?" You can say, "Oh, I just messed up. I made a mistake. I own up to it." But you shouldn't have made that mistake. Well, no, it doesn't matter if I should or shouldn't. I made the mistake, and I own up. But you couldn't have done this and done this better. It's a mistake. That's the purpose of a mistake. Isn't hindsight to look in hindsight what could have prevented it. It's, hey, it's a mistake. I made a mistake. I'm not perfect, but I take responsibility. Yeah, it's this is from No More Mr. Nice Guy, by the way, guys. You have the right to say I don't know. So here's another one. If someone's like, "What do you think about this?" You can say, "Hey, well, I don't know." "Do you love me?" From like a girlfriend. "I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know?" Like, "I don't know." What do you think about this political issue?" "Hey, I don't know." "What do you mean? You're so smart and you're this and you're that. How do you not know?" I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know. And then people leave you alone because really a lot of people just want to judge you on your beliefs or recruit you to their belief system. And sometimes if you don't understand something or you're unsure about something, you have the right to say, "I don't know." So, yeah. All right. So you have the right to be independent of the goodwill of others before coping with them. Let me read that again. You have the right to be independent of the goodwill of others before coping with them. I don't know what this one means. You have the right to be independent of the goodwill of others before coping with them. Okay, I think this is like, hey, if someone does something good for you, it doesn't mean you owe them shit, or it doesn't mean you're on their side, or you have to owe them anything. You can receive goodwill from others in the form of compliments, gifts, resources, time, but you don't owe them. anything back just because they gave you that, right? So don't, and that's a lot of how a lot of people try to control you. It's one of the 48 laws of power is like never accept a free lunch. And one of the reasons is because it gives them power over you because of guilt, because of gratitude, because you don't want to be seen as a bad person and all that. So, yeah. Um, you have the right to be illogical in making decisions. So sometimes you want to do something. Like, hey, if today you wanted to go tour, ride a bike across the country, and people were like, "Why would you do that? That's stupid. Dumb. You're so dumb." Um, you could just say, "No, I don't know. I just wanted to ride a bike across the country." You have the right to make a dumb decision. You got to own up to the consequences, but you have the right to make a dumb decision. Hey, if you want to bang a fat chick, people are gonna be like, "Dude, really?" He's like, "Yeah, I just wanted to bang a fat chick. Whatever." If you wanted to bang a crazy chick, dude, I just wanted to. If you wanted to take a thought on a vacation, right? Obviously, it's your money, and we don't recommend it. But if you want to do it, dude, that's up to you. I can't tell you not to do it. So, yeah, you have the right to say, "I don't understand." If I was Luke Song, they're like, "Hey, do you understand why we're firing you?" You can just be like, "No, I don't understand." But you did this and you said this. Yeah, I get what you said, but I don't understand, right? Um, you have the right to say I don't care, and that this is one of the most powerful ones, and this is so liberating. You can just tell people you don't care. Don't you feel bad for what you did? No, I don't care. You should, what about this and this thing and whatever this thing, political thing that everyone's worried about. How do you not care? No, I just don't care. I don't care. And guys, if you practice all 10 of these, you'll be able to navigate situations where you're the villain. Because essentially, guys, at the end of the day, you putting yourself first and your own interest first. No one will do it for you. You putting your own interest first is essentially going to make you a villain. If you having sex with a woman on your terms that you like will make you into a villain. That's how little it takes. So just own it, navigate it using your bill of assertive rights, and you don't want to end up like these guys that like the Joy Swolls of the world who rolled over at the first sign of confrontation. They could have used their assertive bill of rights, but instead they said, "No, I gotta get people to like me. It's so important." And then boom, it's over. It's done. So yeah. Anyways, guys, that's all I have. I gotta hit the gym. Great chat today. Hopefully you guys took something away from this today. And follow the Substack. Um, New article coming out soon. New essay. It's about. Let me see. You guys will see. But let me just put the link there. Um, and yeah, look out for more bangers, guys. And I'll see you guys later.